Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 105. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, thank you for your lovely reviews. Very excited when I get a new review. It really makes my day. So thank you for those. How are you? I hope you're all well. I hope that the parents who have got the kids at home this week are surviving and the teacher friends are enjoying the very well-deserved half-term week. I have literally just woken up. I set my alarm for 8 o'clock. It's now 8:10. Sorry, no, it's not. It's 10:10. I set my alarm for 8 o'clock and I just raved straight through. It was like, da 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 da, da 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 da. I just incorporated it into my dream and slept for an additional 2 hours. So I feel slightly confused and disorientated. But anyway, the good feeling though was I jumped out of bed panicking and like running to the bathroom. And then I was like, oh, it's okay. You work from home. There's nobody going to be bollocking you. So that was nice. So this week I'm going to talk to you about something that I had to scroll through all my past episodes to check that I hadn't done a podcast on it already, because it's such an interesting and useful tool that we've all got that we can use for manifestation that I can't actually believe I've never recorded an episode on it before. I think I might have mentioned it briefly before, but I've never done an episode on it. So the way that we are plugged into what we experience as our reality is through our senses, because those senses that we have as humans are taking in all of the information around us. But just imagine how overwhelming it would be if we were aware of all of those things, everything that's going on in our 3D surroundings all at once. It would be awful. You'd be tuned into all the different colours and textures. You'd be tuned into the feel of all your clothes on your skin, and the background noises like a ticking clock or maybe an alarm clock that you're raving through asleep. Things like a fly buzzing around, or tapping of nails on a keyboard, or outside sounds of like somebody mowing the lawn, or a car driving, or a front door shutting, or the voices of people. You'd have all the different smells of perfume and flowers and food and whatever it was that you were passing at that time. And even though that's all going on at once, you're not aware of all of that unless you tune into it. And there's a reason for that. It would just be massively overwhelming. Just imagine like an amazing orchestra and how they can sound when the musicians would play their instruments according to the notes on the sheets. It sounds amazing, and we'd perceive that to be like a really nice piece of music. But if each person just played their own song randomly all at the same time, it would sound very, very chaotic and overwhelming. So we have a system that allows us to experience our reality according to what we're focused on. And that tool is called your Reticular Activating System, or RAS for short. So your RAS is like a sensory sort of gatekeeper, and it filters the world through the lens that you're choosing to look through. And it allows you to experience the world in line with that lens that you've chosen. It's almost like a bouncer at a club that's deciding who gets in and who doesn't based on the rules of the club. But when it comes to your experience, you're the owner of the club, so you make those rules. So our experience of the world is purely based on perception. It's a projection of our consciousness, like I've talked in the past. And whatever we're projecting out is how we're viewing the world due to our consciousness. So what beliefs we hold, what we think about ourselves, how we have decided to view it. We view it through our own perception. And that is why people experience the same world in very different ways. So, for example, we have things like courtrooms and juries, because it's very difficult to establish facts from any human. Even if they really are telling their truth, it's still often only their truth, because everybody has got their own version of reality that's true for them. And it doesn't make somebody else's version a lie, because all possibilities exist. So we can't rely on one person to say, this is the fact of the world, because it's just not. That's not the way it works for everyone. So when I first started teaching years ago, we used to use this scheme of work to teach PSHE. I can't remember anything else about it, but we had this particular scheme of work for PSHE. And that PSHE, by the way, if you don't already know this, is the lesson in schools where children learn like life skills, like they learn about friendship and hygiene and safety and diversity. Anything that doesn't fall into a typical subject is taught during PSHE lessons. And I don't remember anything else about this scheme apart from one of these concepts that was a big part of it, and it was called Remember the Beach Ball. And it stuck with me when I used to teach it. And it was like a visual concept to teach kids about perception and about different points of view in the context of them building friendships and managing fallouts and disagreements. So what you would do is blow up a beach ball, and you'd get a child to stand on one side and another child to stand on the other. And then you'd hold it in the middle and you'd ask the kids to tell you what colour was the beach ball. And one of them would say red, orange and yellow, and the other ones would say it's blue, green and white. And then you'd ask the rest of the kids in the class to have a little walk around and help you, the teacher, decide who was telling the truth and who wasn't. And then obviously they would come to the conclusion that even though they didn't agree, these two children, they were both telling the truth, because what they could see was one of them could see that it was red, orange and yellow, and the other could see that it was blue, green and white, because they were looking at it from different points of view. So it taught them about how people have different perspectives and how that can potentially cause disagreements, and then we'd talk about how to resolve them. And that really stuck with me, because I thought that's such a good example of how we all see the world differently. And we can be absolutely sure of our way of perceiving it, but for somebody else that just isn't true. And, that can create conflict. So this really links in with the episode on free will, and what you experience is a projection of your consciousness, and what someone else sees is a projection of theirs. So you will see things differently. You see things through your own personal lens, and therefore you have a completely different experience in some cases. So going back to your reticular activating system, this mechanism that we've all got, it's a part of the brain, and it serves the purpose of filtering out everything that isn't necessary in that moment. And it's a really amazing tool when we're talking about manifestation, because when you become consciously aware of your vision and you get expansive and you think bigger and you start making your desires more exciting and maybe even a little bit more scary, and they like the ones that light you up, then you're putting your focus on that vision. So you're taking yourself out of the 3D circumstances that you don't like, and you're starting to focus on that vision. And so what will happen then is the 3D lens that you're viewing this reality through will shift. And when it shifts, it'll begin to show you opportunities and open doors and give you signs that lead you towards the desire that you are manifesting. So it's a very, very efficient system that is based on that lens. Your RAS is constantly seeking out opportunities to show you what you are currently interested in. And it's filtering out anything that you're not interested in. And when I say interested, I don't necessarily mean what you're actually interested in because you enjoy it. I mean what it decides you're interested in experiencing, because that's where you're consistently putting your attention. So it can think that you're interested in something that you absolutely hate because you are putting your attention there. Or it can think that you're interested in something you love because you're putting your attention there. So this is why if you were, for example, to get out of bed late one day, like I did this morning, jumped out of bed, and you go into the bathroom a bit panicked and stressed, and you don't get that under control, you will then get in the car and you'll then hit the traffic, and that'll cause you to be more stressed and panicked. And then you'll get to work and your boss will be pissed off with you, and then you'll be more stressed and panicked. And everything else in your day is likely to go tits up, because that's the lens that you are filtering your reality through. You're viewing the world through this, the day is a write-off lens. So that's how you're going to see it. If you wake up late on that same day and then you calm yourself down and you stop panicking and you're like, no, this is fine, I'm just going to change this now. You don't react overly emotionally to that and you don't assign it negative meaning. And then you switch to a new lens where you're expecting everything to go well, you will experience the rest of the day differently. Everybody's experienced that both ways. When you have either a really bad day, I'm doing it in air quotes, like where everything seems to be going wrong, or you have a really amazing day where everything seems to be working in your favour. That's because you're looking at the world through a different lens. So you're being shown different things. So your RAS is seeking out these different experiences from all of the potential options, and all of those options are happening all at once. So it's just about which one are you choosing to see. So another way to think about your reticular activating system is like a social media algorithm. So if you were to scroll through your Instagram or your TikTok or your Facebook, it would be different to mine. Actually, ours might be quite similar because we're obviously interested in the same things. But if you go through mine, it's lots and lots and lots and lots of self-development stuff and quotes and people speaking about the same sorts of things that I'm interested in. Whereas if I go on my dad's Facebook or social media, it will be about camper vans and kayaks and whatever it is that he's been like interested in that week. Very much like me, we skip from one hobby to the next. So it alters depending on the person, and you will constantly be presented with things that you have programmed the algorithm of that social media platform to show you. And the way that it's programmed is by carefully measuring the amount of attention or interest you place on various topics. If you've never seen, by the way, I'm going slightly off here, but if you've never seen a program on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, you should watch it. It's slightly terrifying, but also very interesting. It shows you exactly how like the algorithm works and how much of your attention it grabs. And that is very, very similar to your reticular activating system. So yeah, let's talk about the social media. So if you like crochet, when you see a crochet video, the likelihood is that you'll stop and watch it for a second, you'll give it your attention. So that's registered with the algorithm. And then if you see a video about, I don't know, like Formula One or something, you immediately scroll past it because you're not interested in that, and it's presenting you with all these different options. The algorithm will also register that too, and it will then take some of those away to make sure that you get more of what you're interested in, because it wants to keep your attention. So you'll get more crochet videos and you won't see any Formula One videos because you've programmed it to know what you're interested in by using your attention to show it. So everyone who uses social media will know that you are shown a very skewed view of reality. And if you watch that documentary, The Social Dilemma, you'll see just how skewed it is, because it ties into all sorts of things. It's the same with like politics. If you lean to the right and you're interested in politics and you turn the news on, which I would never recommend, you'll see the world through that right lens. And if you are leaning to the left, you'll see it through the left lens. There is no factual reality. It's based purely on your perception of what's going on, because even when something has happened, you give it different meaning depending on which lens you're looking at it through. So somebody will give it a positive meaning and another person will give it a negative meaning. It's always based on your perception. Wherever your attention flows is where your energy will grow. An episode that I did a while back had a similar sort of theme to this, and I was talking about putting logs onto a fire that you want to grow and not putting them on ones that you don't want to grow, to starve those ones. And I'm aware that I have quite a significant platform now, and I've got lots of listeners and quite a big audience. And I also see that other creators will use their platform to speak out against like absolute atrocities that are going on in the world, like really awful things. And I absolutely understand that. I get why they're doing it. And I'm sure that people probably have wondered why I don't share things on my social media. Why am I not sharing these posts about things that are going on in the world that are obviously horrendous? Or why do I not speak about it? Why do I not use my platform to do that? And they probably assume that I don't care, when in fact it's the very opposite. I do care very much. And I understand how powerful my energy is and my attention. I understand how powerful everybody's energy attention is. So for that reason, I don't share things like that, because even though I might be speaking up against something that I don't like, I'm still giving it my attention, whether it's negative or positive. That topic, that thing that's going on has still got my attention. And I don't want to put any logs on fires that I don't want to grow. So it doesn't matter whether you like the circumstance or not. It's my belief that if you choose to put your attention on it, you're giving it more power, whether that attention is positive or negative. So I personally choose not to do that. So this week, I would love you to join me in experimenting with your reticular activating system so that you can see just how well this works and how quickly it will seek to show you what you're interested in. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a random object. Now, if you don't want to choose this random object and you want to choose another random object, that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to give you a random object now, and I'm going to plant it in your awareness so that you think about it for a minute. And that will kick off your reticular activating system so that it seeks out to show you that you're interested in. So all I want you to do is I want you to just think about it for a second and then release it. I don't want you to search for it, because if you search for it, what will happen is you'll think, oh, yeah, but I was looking for it. So I want you to allow your reticular activating system to just show it you. Be aware, keep your eyes open, but don't go looking for it. So, are you ready for the mystery object? Can we have a drum roll, please? It's a stork, as in a large bird, the type that is rumoured to deliver babies. And I have chosen that one because I read this message that said I was going to see a stork, and then I saw one in my dad's garden yesterday. It's been there for years and I have never seen it. It's a full-sized stork model and I have never seen it before, and there it was, as clear as day, because my reticular activating system had never allowed me to see that before because I just wasn't interested in storks. And as soon as I was told I was going to see a stork, I saw one. So, again, if you want to switch the object to something else, that's fine, but make it something that you wouldn't see everywhere, something that you normally wouldn't see that often. So this week, I just want you to accept that you are going to see a stork. That's an important part of it. You're going to accept that you're seeing a stork. And it could be a real stork, it could be a statue of a stork, it could be a photo of a stork, it could be a cartoon stork, it could be a painting of a stork, it could even be the word stork or somebody talking to you about a stork. But you absolutely will come into contact with some kind of stork when you do that. And if you do, or when you do, not if you do, when you see that stork, I would love you to post a photo of it in the Facebook group so we can all see how clearly this works, or tag me in your Instagram stories at Empower State, and I will reshare them. And that is going to prove to you that when you choose to place your interest somewhere else and you choose to focus on your vision, you're going to be presented with things that have always been there, but that you've not been aware of in the past because they've been filtered out by your RAS. And now it's going to provide opportunities for you to get where you're going. So at first you'll see things, you'll notice things, but that reticular activating system will extend to that you'll bump into people who could give you an opportunity, that you will notice a new job that's come up that you didn't see before. It works in all kinds of weird and wonderful ways, and it is so interesting how quickly it works. So I hope that you enjoy experimenting with that today. What I would say is, once you've seen your stalk, choose a new object. Particularly if you're fairly new to manifestation, this like little game, which is what it is, you're just picking an object and waiting for it to be shown to you, is a really good way to build your belief in your own power, in your consciousness, in your creativeness. So I would encourage you to keep playing around with it. Keep choosing an object that's random and keeping an eye open for it without searching, and it will be presented to you over and over again. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, I'll be very grateful for a review, and don't forget to tag me in your stories at Empower State, or post them in the Facebook group, which is Empower State Community. And I will speak to you all next week. I'll see you later.